I feel like for this month, there's going to be a lot of strategizing that's going to be happening. I feel like internally, externally. Okay, so I feel like you're plotting something. And I'm also seeing that you're keeping things very, very close to your chest, not telling people, not letting people know about your plan, like not really talking so much about your plans overall, and not letting people, not revealing things to other people. So I'm also feeling as if, for some of you in a work environment, you're watching somebody. It's like verging on a train wreck. Okay, so it's like you're watching somebody, and you're just like the things that they're doing. You're telling yourself like, I would never do that. Why would they do that? That's so foolish. And in the past, you really try to help this person. You told them, you should do this, you should do that. And for whatever reason, the other person just didn't take your advice. And so they're dealing with the ramifications of their actions. And I feel like you're watching them kind of like heading into a disaster. And they're a little bit, they overestimate their capabilities. So I feel like they're going to be in over their head pretty soon. They're going to be in hot water. That's what it feels like to me. They're going to come to you for assistance. I'm going to read this in the upright position because I feel like that's what it's referring to here in the work environment. So I feel like this person is going to come to you and just be like, they didn't take your advice the first time. And now they're going to be coming to you like, what do I do now? How do I get myself out of this hot water situation? And you're just like, I can't help you. And so I feel like this is in a work environment. This is in a work environment where somebody was not doing things in a procedurally correct way. Somebody was not heeding, their higher calling. Somebody was just like trying to cut down or trying to, overturn that sense of hierarchy, that sense of seniority. And they went about it in a very foolish way. And so I feel that, you're going to be telling them, I can't really help you. I already exhausted, my advices with you. You didn't listen, so there's nothing else that I can do. I'm feeling for others of you. There are like, they mentioned, secret like meetings. I feel like you're keeping things really close to your chest. Like there's a lot of things that, that either you're holding back or you're doing under the radar. Okay, so that's what I'm feeling, and I can't really pinpoint it yet. So just give me a second. I'm sensing for some of you, family is going to be very, very important for this month. And I feel like, relying on family to bounce ideas off of rather than talking to your coworkers or rather than talking to your friends. I feel like you have some very personal secrets that you're holding in, and you're only letting close people who are very close to you, people that you trust with your life, in on these secrets. They might be plans for a new venture. They might be like a new career move. They might be like a new investment opportunity or something that's very lucrative. And I feel that you don't trust outsiders. So you're only letting, the people who are very, very close to you in on these secrets. And as a result of it, you have to be, very stealthy about who you're revealing this to. So I do see a lot of discussions here about family. And I do feel as well, if the family situation has been very rough and rocky for you, I'm sensing that some of you are figuring out like a smart way to talk to somebody in your family members. If you've had like a very contentious relationship with them, you're figuring out a way where you can talk to them about something really important, and it's going to cause problems. And you're trying to figure out a smart way to do this, okay? You're going to be okay. I see a lot of good things here in this spread overall. And I do feel this card specifically, there's some divine protection coming through for you. So I'm trying to figure out where this is coming through in, like what area it's coming through in. But I keep seeing here, let me just go over the spread, and then hopefully the information will present itself, okay? Because often, like towards the last minute, if the information is not talked about, it will reveal more. So this is the energy you're bringing to the table. So this is the High Priestess. And the high priestess is, once again, keeper of secrets. She lets a lot of things in, but things don't really escape her. It shows up in the reverse position. So I feel like, this is usually what I call like tough love. It's a person who's very caring, who's very nurturing, who's very eager to help other people. But you're learning to hold yourself back. You're learning like loving detachment, because I feel like you try to help somebody in the past multiple times. You try to teach them, to do things the right way. And they might have always come to you whenever there's problems. They come to you for advice. They come to you for input. They come to you to vent. Okay. And I feel like the exchange has been very, very one-sided, where whenever there's a problem, they come to you, and then, they start to vent, and you give them, you give your energy away to this person, right? And then they become full again, and then they leave and they don't learn anything from it. So you're giving them insights, but they're not picking anything up. And you also, there has been a lot of times where you help them, you complete them, and then they weren't in the picture to help you. And I feel like this is the month in which a lot of you are pulling back your energy. So you're exercising, tough love. You're exercising loving detachment. And it's a little bit difficult, but I feel like it took multiple rounds before you lose your patience with this person, and then, you start to shut them out. Okay? Um, what I do feel coming through as well is you're trying to move on. Okay, you're trying to live life with let your hair down, let loose, have some fun, create a new social circle for yourself. So you're trying to really enjoy like the simpler things as well as the funner things in life. And this takes a really long time for a Virgo to learn, mainly because I feel like every moment that you're sitting idle, or every moment that you're having fun, you start to feel unproductive, and you start to feel very guilty. And this is something that you need to, not be so hard on yourself about. Okay? People think that Virgos are really critical, but they're their worst critics. And it's really important for you to occasionally let your hair down, live life with, less worries, less anxiety, and give yourself the space to enjoy your life, to have fun, and to, really just enjoy the moment. Okay? Don't think about what you're going to do tomorrow. Don't think about, you know, is the other person having fun? I feel like a lot of guilt here, and the guilt is unfounded. Okay? So let your hair down. And I feel like there will be a lot of opportunities for you to do that. I also feel as well, there has been a major separation. Okay? You're healing from it. There has been a major separation. You're healing. You're going to be okay. It's left a bitter taste in your mouth, and I feel like there was somebody that was. I'm sensing for some of you, this was a situation where somebody um, didn't act in a way that was in accordance with what they preach. So you can say somebody who's very hypocritical, somebody who was very controlling, and I'm feeling like emotionally irrational. And it's really hard for you to deal with people who are emotionally irrational, because you're very cool. You're kind of like the Aquarius of all the earth signs. You're very logical. You're very rational, and you don't act until you cool down and you can assess the situation realistically. And I feel like the way your mind works, and that's why a lot of Virgos get along with Aquarius, the way that a Virgo's mind works, it's very cerebral as well. And so you and Aquarius people tend to have like a very strong mutual respect for one another's work ethics, for one another's intelligence, for one another's just ethical ways in which you deal with people. So you have a lot of respect here for, Aquarius, and they likewise with you. And what I feel is happening here is you and Aquarius people, when you deal with people who are very emotionally off kilter and very emotionally irrational, you try to avoid them. And they make you uncomfortable. And I feel like that's what's happening. You're dealing with somebody like this, okay? It might have been in your past. It might also be a family member. I'm feeling like heavily family member or somebody in your work environment because of this Hierophant card. It basically indicates structure, institution, okay? So I'm feeling like this is a family member. And it took you a while to learn how to, handle their energy. And the way in which you handle their energy, be it a coworker or a family member, was loving detachment. You start to drift away. And then I feel like if it's a family member, it took a really long time. It took a really, really long time for you to get yourself here to the point where what they do doesn't affect you anymore. What they say doesn't affect you, and they can't reel you back in. So I feel like that is done and over with, okay? And if it's a coworker, it's still happening where they're just like, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? I know I didn't take your advice the last time, but can you please help me one last time? And you're just like, no. So there's that shutting down. There's that whole process about you not reciprocating, not returning the contact, not returning the call, not returning those messages. So I feel like you have pretty much shut somebody out. And I feel like they're trying every trick in the book to try to lure you back in. They're trying every trick in the book to, play nice, listen to you, and all of these things. But you're just like, it's done and over with. It's irrevocable. So, I feel like you're blocking some people out that you try to help. You try to help them. And here's the thing, Virgo. I feel like, okay, so I think that message is coming out here. I feel like there is a very, very strong, okay, so let's say this, okay? If you dealt with somebody who's very emotionally irrational, and they scare you, like their intensity of their energy is scary. And I also feel like the emotional demands they made on you, it felt very draining, and so you block them out. And they're telling you, if it's a family or a coworker, right? Especially if it's a family member, they're telling you that I feel some people that you blocked out, they've changed. They've made some positive strides in their life. They're a lot more emotionally stable now. And so they're telling you, like, don't be too quick to pass judgment. And don't be too quick to just, rule it out, because I feel like you have to also give people a chance. And so, because you've dealt with this person so many times, you're tired of it, and they're draining you. I feel that energetically, they're just so intense. And when you're dealing with somebody who's emotionally irrational, their emotional responses are, they're once they're triggered emotionally, they behave, they lash out, and they do things that are very hurtful, that isolate them from other people. And so I feel like there is a situation here where somebody has changed, okay? And they're trying to tell you, if it's a family member especially, try to give it another go, because it's worthwhile, okay? Because I feel like you at this point know, you have come up with the skills to not let it affect you energetically and not let it affect you emotionally. So you're in a really good position here to, resume that interaction without being emotionally invested in it. So think of it as a lesson as to how you protect and maintain your energy when dealing with people who are like this, okay? And then it's as much a lesson for the other person, where they need to tone down their energy so that they're not riling people up, okay? So I feel like that's what's happening. It's a major life lesson, and a lot of it has to do with you protecting your energy field, blocking people out in a way where you still can, contact them, communicate with them without them invading your personal space, okay? Without them like knocking you off kilter, like emotionally. So think of it as a lesson about how to properly do loving detachment, okay? So that's really important. That's what I'm feeling here, especially with family members. The other message that is coming through here, I feel like a lot of you, you're in a position where you have a lot of free time, like free time for freelance work, free time for leisure activity. Don't feel guilty about it, okay? Free time to travel as well. So get all the traveling done that you want, okay? And I'm also feeling as if I feel like there are a lot of important meetings that are taking place. So I feel like some of you might be called upon, right? And by a supervisor, and they're like, hey, we want your feedback on this, this person, this employee, this work project. We want your feedback on a specific like procedure at work. And I feel like they're telling you to keep it, kind of like hush hush, mainly because they want your skills, they want your expertise, but they don't want you to tell others because other people might get jealous. So, for example, I'm sensing some of you, a supervisor or somebody in your work environment might ask you, there's an employee here that's underperforming. Can you give us an honest assessment of his or her work ethics, of his or her, character? And I feel that you don't want to throw the other person under the bus, so I don't feel you're going to be truthful. I feel that you're going to be candid, but I don't feel that you're going to reveal everything because you know that job security is important for the other person, so you're not throwing them under the bus. And I don't feel there's anything wrong with that because I feel like you're hiding some information just because it would hurt the other person's credibility. It would hurt the other person's chances at advancing in this company. So they're saying, think about the position that the other person's in, whether or not they work with the public, whether or not they have a very impactful job. And if their job is very impactful and they're not working to their capabilities, it's really important for you to be honest because maybe there's room for change, okay? So be open to the fact that, honesty is going to be the ideal thing, especially if they are working and they're impacting a lot of other people. They need to be at their best emotionally and just, competency wise so that they can make a difference. If you are holding information regarding their performance based on something that you feel like, oh, they're not really performing to the best of their capabilities, it's kind of a disservice to other people. So I feel like you need to be very honest about that, okay? I'm just going to leave it there because I feel like there are secret meetings or some type of clandestine like meeting that you have with a supervisor where they're asking for somebody's they're asking for your performance review or your evaluation of a person. They're calling to verify something about the other person, and you're trying to help the other person by keeping quiet. So I'm just going to leave it at that because, Virgos, use your best judgment. I feel like I trust your judgment, okay? I just feel like you're going to be holding some information in. And either way, we have new opportunities. And I also feel as if it's not a busy month overall, which is really rare to see for you guys. And I'm actually glad this is coming through because they're saying, get outdoors and do some new things, okay? Like camping, fishing, hiking, whatever it is that you're inclined to do for entertainment. I feel that it's going to be really good for you. They mentioned as well paying a visit to family members, okay? This is something that I feel will really rejuvenate you, okay? Coming in with this energy when you visit like family members that you might not have spoken to in a long time, or family members that really drain you emotionally, I feel like this is a good energy to bring, mainly because you're coming in like this, very sure of yourself and very just lighthearted. You're going to leave like this where you're very lighthearted as well. So I don't see any problems reconciling with family members for this month, okay? I'm also feeling as well, I don't see busy energy. So they're really saying, try to revisit old haunts, figuring out like outdoor opportunities, like outdoor recreational activities that you can do by yourself with other people, going to the beach. The weather is getting warmer in the northern hemisphere. So finding opportunities to do that, okay? I'm also feeling here there is a discussion here with an ex. So I'm feeling for some of you major ex that is was a significant fixture in your life. So I feel like it was a very significant relationship. They're saying here there is a major reunion or like an opportunity to meet with an ex. Emotionally, things have already, drifted apart, okay? Like emotionally they're done, you're done. So just be careful about that. Be careful about that sense of reconnecting for old time's sake because I feel like it's already done and over with. You can't really backtrack from it, okay? They might also make that last ditch attempt to appeal to you emotionally, but I feel like you're already done and over with. So if you feel that, if your instinct is telling you, oh, they're trying something fishy, they're trying to, get their foot through the door again, Don't meet up. Okay, so I feel like X is coming through for many of you. What I'm also sensing as well, and this is going to be the last message that I'm going to leave this reading off with. You know, Virgos, you work really hard at things, okay? And for you beat yourself up over things when things don't go perfectly, or when things just, go awry and you have to leave it behind. It's you don't leave things behind like lightly. Things have to be really, really bad for you to turn your back and walk away. Like they're pretty bad. And so you need to keep that in mind. If a situation was so bad that you had to escape in order to, restore yourself and to restore your peace of mind, just know that at its worst, it was so bad that you had to walk away. There's no need to revisit it, okay? And I feel like that might also be like the ex or even that family situation. And so I'm sensing overall, there's a lot of things that you blame yourself for in the past. Did I do this right? Did I handle this situation to the best of my capabilities? Is there something, that I did wrong specifically? And I feel like this is the month in which, you're feeling a lot lighter. You don't blame yourself anymore. There's a lot of conclusions that you have drawn, that you didn't do anything wrong. The other person was at fault. And that, the other person might have been emotionally irrational and they didn't know how to handle their emotions. And that's why the relationship went awry. Okay. And so coming to terms with that fact will allow you to stop fighting it, okay, and allow you to live guilt-free, allow you to move on, allow you to just emotionally detach from them and start living for you rather than being, constantly concerned and worried and feeling guilty that you didn't do everything that you possibly could in a situation, okay? So I'm seeing so much alleviation of guilt, so much alleviation of like, I'm seeing a lot of people exhale this month. So this is probably the fourth sign that I've done. And there's a lot of this exhale energy, this relief, this letting go, this, finality. So I feel like you're going to be in a really good emotional space, letting go of baggage and, moving on in a very light manner. Okay. So good for you, Virgos. I'm glad to see that for you guys. Especially for an earth sign. Earth signs are so slow to act and leave when things get unhealthy. So I'm really glad to see that for you guys. I feel like out of all of them, though, you are probably the first to leave. Out of all the Earth sign, I feel like Capricorns might be the last, and Capricorns stay and stay and stay, and they tolerate so much. You guys overall tolerate so much. Okay, so let's see what's in store for you guys for love relationships. Let's see if there's any messages that I could remember from earlier. So, Virgos, love, relationships, romance. Okay, so the first card out of the deck here, we have the Three of Cups. And the Three of Cups is basically socially dating, social engagement, light-hearted flirtation with another person. So I feel like you are, I see internet-based dating. So this card comes up here as internet-based dating. So I feel like it's rare for earth signs to do internet-based dating. A lot of air signs and fire signs do it. But this is happening for you guys. And I do sense overall, you're going to go out, you're going to have a good time, you're going to let your hair down. Especially for ladies, I feel that you're going to be a lot more flirtatious, which is not your forte. And it's not something that you resort to, but I feel like there's a lighthearted dating energy that's coming through. It looks really good. Internet-based dating. So this is the Seven of Cups, looking at all the options before us, looking at pictures of other people sending you a lot of pictures, and some pictures you might not even want to see. Like they might send you personal pictures that you're not ready for because you feel like you just met them. So something close and personal, and I feel like it's unwarranted. Okay, so be careful about who you are reaching out to, who you are connecting with, because I feel like some people are overstepping their boundaries. We have here, this is the Wheel of Fortune, and I'm reading all of these cards in the upright position. So I feel like, if there has been a little bit of a dry spell, I do sense there's going to be a lot of suitors coming at your door. Okay. So they're saying pretty much this is a good month overall. We are shifting into the sign of Taurus, a fellow earth sign. So I do feel like, things that might have been stalled, gradually they're picking up speed and they're going to be taking off, especially by the next month, okay? When we shift into Gemini. So it's really important for you, put yourself out there. I feel a lot of newly single people, um, experimental dating, I feel for some of you. Give me just a second. And this card fell out. So we have here the this is the star. So this is the card of Aquarius, and pretty much basically it denotes like looking at people and communicating at a distance, or even communicating like just internet based. Okay, so we have three cards that indicate social dating, internet based type of dating, and internet based like meeting up with people, communicating with people, and engaging with people. So I feel like there's a lot of exchange of pictures between you and possibly a few people. And so they're pretty much telling you all of these choices are pretty solid. They look really good to me. And so you're going to have to make a decision here and choose the best option for you. Okay, so you can't really go wrong. I just feel like you need to be a little bit more decisive, because you are the sign that you value relationships and you like one-on-one interactions. I feel like you're at your best when you're interacting with somebody. There's that intellectual connection. There's also that that personal connection, one-on-one, type of an interaction. So when you have that with another person, they're telling you pretty much, when that intellectual connection is there, that's the person that you should choose. So I feel like you need to narrow down your options. I'm also feeling as if some of you, you want to take your time. You want to just sit here and, live in the moment and not have to be exclusive to anybody specifically. But I do feel somebody might be, pushing for more of a commitment, okay? It's not a bad thing at all. I just feel like either way you're going to have fun. You're letting your hair down, which is something that's very rare to see for a Virgoan reading. We have here a love offer. This is a water sign, so a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And I feel for some of you, this might just be, it might not be a water sign, it might be somebody who's younger, like a younger lover. Somebody who is very, very adamant about getting your attention. And especially if this is a relationship partner that you're dealing with who is younger or a water sign. I feel like you're going out enjoying yourself with your friends, and they're getting, they feel neglected, and they're doing a little bit of attention seeking, okay? So if you're in a relationship with somebody who's younger, I feel like your social life is really opening up, and you feel bad leaving them alone. So you might, ask them, oh, do you want to hang out with us? And they don't want to. So I feel like there's a little bit of a pouty energy with this younger person or this water sign person that you're dealing with. They might not want you to socialize. There might be some trust issues if they're a lot younger. They might not want you to socialize so heavily with your friends, and they feel neglected. They feel left out. So they're doing some, throwing tantrums. They're being a little bit pouty to get you to stay at home and spend time with them. But I do see, like, at the root of it is they're a little bit jealous, because I feel like, that there's it's a really sweet person. It's somebody who wears their heart on their sleeves, and they really can't contain their emotions. And so you might have to curtail like going out so much to appease this person. And I feel like there might have been a lot of arguments in the past with this person. So there might have been, talks about infidelity. There might have been like accusations about, where were you? Who were you with? Somebody looking at somebody else's cell phone. I'm feeling like looking at inappropriate messages that was sent between you and another person. So there were arguments over this situation in the past. And so as a result of it, I feel like they're, whatever they're fearful about, if they think like you're out and about dealing with other people or stepping out on the relationship, it's really important for you to come clean, and it's also really important for you to reassure this person, because they're very afraid to lose you, is what I'm feeling here. I feel like some of you, okay, so I'm feeling like some of you, there is a huge, huge influx of money. Okay, so we have here the Nine of Pentacles. This is a self-employment card. You might very well be self-employed, or you're dealing with somebody, you or your partner is self-employed. And when somebody is self-employed, let's just say, okay, if they work for themselves, they're usually a lot more secluded. They don't interact with a lot of people. They don't have coworkers that they see on a regular basis. So overall, one person is very secluded overall in their social life, in their professional life as well. So they're not branching out, they're not going out a lot, and they're not meeting new people. And the other person is so connected to society via work, via friendships, via social media. And so I feel like two people, you're in a relationship with somebody who is quite a recluse, and you're somebody who is actually branching out and meeting new people, and it could go vice versa. And I feel like there is some jealousy or some like insecurity, because one person's going out so much and one person is so reclusive. And I feel like it's really important for you to reassure your partner that nothing's going on, that, you're just out and about and it's all innocent. But I do feel that there has been some breaches of trust in the past, okay? And I'm also feeling as well, just reassure your partner, okay, Virgos? If you are dealing specifically with that water sign or somebody who's a lot younger, I feel like they're going to throw a little bit of a tantrum this month. And I feel like you might even, you might already be like, they might be pushing for a relationship. They might be pushing for marriage. They might be pushing for, having children, having kids, taking the relationships to the next level. And I feel like you are reassessing whether or not you want to do that, and whether or not you feel like they're still right for you. So I'm feeling that you're in a relationship here with somebody, once again, who is a little bit immature, very young emotionally, and they're emotionally irrational. Things you like, they really care about you, and I feel like they really, really love you. They really care about you. They really admire you. You're not ready to take the relationship to the next level, or you might have felt like you were ready, but you felt like you were ready. But for this month, the tantrums, the tempers will start to flare. And I feel like you will look at them in a different light, and you could no longer, be in the relationship with them, because you're just like, you're too emotionally worked up. You're too accusatory. And, there are trust issues here. So I'm sensing as well that you might cut that person loose, okay? Especially if it's a younger person or a water sign. So Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. There's a lot of energies here about, somebody sending pictures in the past and then being found out, and this person is bringing this up every time they argue. And so you're just like, I'm done with this discussion, and you're trying to move on, and I feel like you're going to break that relationship in order to move on. So I feel that it's not a healthy relationship. You're going to break yourself loose, okay? I also feel, for some of you, there was somebody that you were married to, okay? This is far away, long ago in the past. There's going to be some news here that they're dating somebody else and they're in another relationship. And, it's so far away and long ago in the past. I don't know why it's showing up, but I just feel almost as if you might not have understood why your relationship ended. And so this energy is coming back in for this month to allow you to understand why the relationship ended. So I feel like if you were with somebody and you both have moved on, and then you catch news of them dating somebody else or with somebody else, you might compare yourself to whoever they're with, and you might realize, oh wow, I'm so different from the person that they're dating. And I feel like through that revelation, through that compare and contrast phase, you might realize, oh, that's why we didn't work, because I'm not like this person. That's why things didn't work out, because this person wanted, this, and I'm this. So I feel like it's going to give you some type of closure, okay? And emotionally, it's so long ago that you're done with it, but I feel like there were a lot of questions that were still lingering in your mind, and you're gonna get pictures, or you're gonna get some type of validation, and you might start to realize like it didn't work because of that specific reason, okay, because of whatever reason in the past. So there's a good, very very good release and closure happening for you guys this month. I do feel, unfortunately, some of you are going to end relationships because the other person, there's trust issues. And I feel for some reason it's coming through from their end to you. It's like you're just, going out, having fun, socializing, making connections, and they're accusing you of infidelity. And I feel like this isn't the first time. So if that's the case, I feel like you're going to cut yourself loose, okay? You're going to cut them loose. You're going to cut yourself loose. And I don't feel you're going to regret the decision. And then for others, I just feel like closure from a long-standing, unfinished business, or questions that you've had regarding a failed relationship from the past. And I'm sensing as well, where you are right now, I feel like, especially for those of you who are making like a massive amount of money, there's a lot of temptation, but you're going to try your best to not succumb to temptation. And I feel you're going to be very successful in doing that, because you believe in karma as well. And this is something I told Scorpio, because I feel like the same energy is coming through for Scorpio, where there's a lot of temptation, there's a lot of opportunities for good time. They're going for it because I don't feel like they're attached, but I feel like, some people are interested in you. You see through people, and you're very critical of people overall for good reason, because some people are only interested in you because of the money. And so you might have fun with them, you might flirt, but I don't feel like, you're gonna, it seems like you're just toying with them. You're not serious, okay? And I don't feel that that's a bad thing. I just feel like, they're after you for superficial reasons, and you're not getting involved, okay? So I feel like it's going to be a really good month. A lot of socializing that's happening for you, meeting, new people overall. And that's something you really need. Okay, Virgos? I do wish you all the best, and I'll be back for the mid-month reading. If a relationship has ended for this month, I'm very, very sorry. Okay. But I do sense as well, this might be, something that you've been grappling with, like a decision you've grappled with for quite some time. So if it's meant to be out of your life, it's going to happen here for this month. I do wish you all the best regardless, and take the reading in strides, okay? If you'd like to get a private reading with me, the information for booking an appointment is on my website. The website is in the description box below. If you'd like to donate to the channel as well, the link is also in the description box below. I will be back for the mid-month reading. Take care of yourself and